Dum, 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 dum. Hey yo, everybody! Welcome to GameCraft, the SketchCraft gaming podcast. It's where, every few weeks or so, I get together with a couple friends and we bitch about all the gaming news, what we've been playing, how we wish it could have been better, gripe, 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 gripe. Joining in today to gripe with me would be Wesley Rusher. Wesley, say hi.
What happened to my Mother of All Dragons intro?
Yeah, I canceled that. Took too long. Also joining in, Andy Bond. Andy, say hello.
Hello, hello.
Alrighty, so I just want to get right to some gaming news. It's been a few weeks. My God, has so much fucking happened. Like, it's pretty nuts. I want to start. I'm going to pick a topic first, and then we'll round robin. All right.
Hey, really quick, I have to say I love the decor of your new set.
Oh, you like this emptiness?
Yeah.
I'm the one guy on YouTube that has no toys or books or anything.
But the bookshelves are for everybody to send you gifts now. So send gifts to Rob, and he will put your gifts in the background.
Right in there, right? Right, that shelf. I can't do it backwards. I'm looking at the. There you go. There you go. Right there. There you go. And if you send me Funko Pops, I just throw them out the window. So I want to talk about the first thing on my list, which is Visceral Games closes and the aftermath of what's been happening the last few weeks. So Visceral Games, for those people who don't know, is a EA-based game studio out of San Francisco that made the Dead Space titles 1, 2, and 3. And then they made Battlefield Hardline, which was the cop one, right, Wesley? Like,
Yeah, it was like their take on Payday.
Payday and maybe a little bit of that Rainbow Six, maybe. But definitely Payday, right? And so Visceral has been working on this single-player Uncharted-like Star Wars game with one of the creators of Uncharted, Amy Hennig, and the producer of all things Ubisoft, Jade Raymond. And a few weeks ago, EA shut down Visceral. I'm going to bring up some of this stuff here really quickly. So let's click here. So this was the initial announcement out of PCGamer.com. EA closing Visceral Games. Yes. I will continue. EA sounds like it's pretty much whatever. So this was the initial story, the initial breaking news, which turned into Polygon wrote a whole thing up on what's the status of Visceral's games, which was that demo they produced at the last E3 they were showing off. And then today, Kotaku posted a giant breakdown on this. Jason Schreier, Schreier. Jason Schreier. I'm really getting to like Jason Schreier. This guy is becoming a hero of mine. But he really, like, guys, look at this article. I'll just like skim through. It's fucking huge. I read the whole thing, and I really suggest you folks out there, if you're interested in behind the scenes stuff, like this is definitely the article to check out. But the long and short of it is that basically, much like Dragon Age and the recent Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda, like they've been trying to like get the Frostbite engine, which is EA's first-person shooter engine, to make something beyond a first-person shooter, like a third-person action game, and it's just incapable of doing that. So like you cross this impossible engine thing that doesn't work for what they're trying to make with the idea that I think the big internet hoopla was also this past week the betas for Battlefront 2 came out, and there was all this stuff about like loot boxes being used to monetize the game aggressively. And so the feeling was that EA basically doesn't want to make a single player game because they can't monetize it, which I can't quite agree with that, guys, because we all know GTA Online seems to be doing a pretty good job of monetizing Grand Theft Auto 5, even though I don't play GTA Online. So I definitely think an Uncharted game doesn't work in that area, but I don't know. I mean, do you guys play the Uncharted multiplayer? Any of you? Like,
No.
I tried it like on 2 for like a minute when it first came out, and shit, I may not even have played it when I may have played like the beta. I don't even think I got into it, but yeah, and I don't think EA. It's not just strictly like just making like a multiplayer game or like a game with loot boxes. I think it's about making even a game similar to Destiny, where there's a way to keep people engaged and have more content, and then have if it's more and more expansion packs or the loot boxes, whatever they want to call it.
well, let's take away the multiplayer and the monetization of gameplay post release. Let's just talk about the studio itself. The studio is based in San Francisco. So
Yep.
one, it's super fucking expensive. Like, this is one of those things where, like, as a big fan of Double Fine, I've never understood why Tim Schafer keeps that studio in San Francisco. They were saying that at EA, basically, the cost of one employee at Visceral is like 3 employees at Montreal Studios, which is where their other stuff's based out of Montreal, Vancouver, so in Canada, basically. And so you have that, the cost of development, compounded with an engine that doesn't, like they were saying that the Frostbite engine can't do things that Uncharted 1 could do. And I imagine that's like grappling onto, ledges and interacting with objects and, what cover system, like the cover system in Uncharted 1 didn't even exist, right? It was just like, just shoot people in the chest 1,500 times until they die. Oh, I always found that funny. I remember that. I remember shooting a guy wearing nothing but a life preserver and some jean trunks 20 times in the chest in Uncharted 1 before he like kind of got weak. I was like, really? You know, and so they felt like they would have had to put another 100 million in the game just to kind of get it up to Uncharted 1 territory. Which further brings another sentiment of mine is why did they sign an exclusive deal with EA? Why did Lucas Arts or Lucasfilm sign an exclusive deal with EA when all they basically can make is Battlefront? Like, I just don't know, man. You know? I mean, I guess because the MMO, do you guys play the MMO? Does anyone here play Knights of the Old Republic? Does
I
anybody?
did for a little bit when it came out, but it never stuck.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like, it wasn't a story-based game despite what they said. It was just WoW Light. I played it for about a week, and I was like, "Wow, it's Star Wars! Wow, wonderful." It was interesting, but nowhere near the original KOTOR. I don't know, guys. It's just a shame because like that's 2 down, right? 2 adventure games, 1313, which was that game they were making at LucasArts before it dissolved, and then now this game, whatever they were calling it, I think the code name was Ragtag or whatever. Um, But I guess now they're going back to the open world game format for Star Wars. Like they're going to go back to that concept. They started with an open world, went to a single player adventure. Now it's back to an open world. Um, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know about EA. I don't. Does anyone here buy EA games? Like, did you guys get Mass Effect or?
I got Mass Effect, but I didn't buy it. And I was really tempted to pick it up. It was down to like $16 for the deluxe edition, like physical on Amazon not that long ago. And think the game's okay. It's like a C plus, B minus, maybe even a B game. It just doesn't. It's not Mass Effect 2, and that's the problem. And I bought Dragon Age Inquisition. I played that. I liked it for what it was. And didn't like blow me off my feet. It was no Witcher 3. And
Yeah. How is
yeah,
it? Like they're saying a single player adventure game can't sell the money it needs to sell. It's Star Wars. Like if it's fucking amazing, it's gonna sell another 13 million copies or 5, 7, 10 million copies. Like I just don't believe that. Like
Well, there were some things going around on the internet about how it's not just that it's a single player game. I don't think they just wanted to come out and say how bad it looked, or I
well,
mean,
there
like
wasn't a
it may
game,
have
was
been
what
a
they were.
mess,
Andy,
right?
that's the whole point of the article. That there really wasn't a game. There was basically 3 tech demos after like 5 years of development. You
So
know,
I wish I could find out more. Actually, a friend of mine works there, but he's not here. He did work there. He's not talking,
right?
and it's totally understandable. I'm sure he's under like NDAs and stuff, and all these people that spoke to Jason, were essentially having to go anonymous to talk. And for me, it would be really easy to pinpoint. Like if all of a sudden I have some insider information, be like, just figure out who my friends are. It's not that hard. Um, but regardless if there was a game or not, I, I think like at least for EA, it's about um, like yeah, sure, an amazing single player Star Wars game is probably gonna sell really, really well. But if they're looking for ways to get more than $60 out of you,
But they can,
they
if they had a multiplayer component, GTA does seems to do it. They gave you a single
yeah.
player game with the multiplayer component. Maybe that's their vision for. We're gonna make like a GTA version of Star Wars, right? Where you run around, do some crazy missions, but it's set up for the multiplayer, which is fine. It's just I don't know, guys. Like it's just the more companies push the AAA games push into this territory where they want to get an extra $1,000 from me in multiplayer, like bonus money. Like no DLC, just buying hats and weird shit. Like it's got nothing to do with the game. I just stopped playing those games. Like The Witcher 3 managed to do it just fine. So, and then games like Divinity are pretty fucking dope. I'm willing to go low tech to avoid, this extra surcharge just to fucking play the basic game. So I don't know. Am I in the minority here? Do you guys not care about that sort of thing? Like, do you?
I mean, you can do whatever it is you want to do. I'm with you. I won't pay for it. I'm not going to pay for, like, as you said in the past episodes, horse armor.
I actually did buy the horse armor though, just so I could
Yeah.
complain. That's the one thing I'm like $5. I gotta get in on that. Like it's so stupid. Like while I already own 2 copies of the PC game because I had it on 2 separate computers, with full mods installed, I paid $5 to get some stupid fucking horse armor, which you can still buy. It's still up.
Yeah,
Crazy.
personally, I have not, other than like expansion packs, I have not ever really partake in any like kind of like microtransaction. I've bought one thing in Destiny, and that's because I had $5 sitting on my PlayStation account, and I was like, I'm never gonna. When am I ever gonna use this? Or like, it's just like the perfect amount. Like, or it was like $4. I had just enough to buy it that I really couldn't buy anything else at that time without putting like more money into the system. So I was like, okay, I used something that was already there, but I've never like whipped out a credit card and been like, let's add $20 right now so I can buy some bright dust and open up some random boxes and hope I get some shit I want.
And obviously people do. One guy had mentioned that they were talking about loot boxes, and one developer, I guess he's a former developer at at EA, and he was saying that he said he saw someone personally. He said he saw someone drop $15,000 on Mass Effect DLC or microtransactions, however that worked out.
Yeah, I can imagine. Mass Effect 3 had a pretty fun multiplayer, but to get like better guns, it was all in opening boxes, and it was I got shit the whole time I played that game. But
that is so out of my wheelhouse. Like I
yeah,
somehow
like calm whales. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about how some games will design items specifically for like they know they have a guy out there who buys everything or buys a certain type of item. So they just make a really expensive thing knowing that like there's like 1 or 2 people that will buy it, and that's alone that will make them the money. They'll make it like a couple $100, and they spend half a day making it or whatever, something really easy and cheesy, like more power to them. I think we haven't seen a price hike in games for a long time, so I'm all for them finding ways to get more money from us, like
guys,
in
and on
in the
full
right
disclosure,
way.
I bought all the DLC for Mario Kart 8, but that was like an actual course with actual players. It was priced reasonably. I
Yeah.
bought the DLC download updates for Witcher 3. I bought Diablo 3 upgraded to Reaper Souls, whatever. So it's like, I get that. You know, I even get someone was I retweeted something. Someone was posting pictures of like, remember in the '90s when you'd get Mortal Kombat 3, and then 3 months later, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and they were full price games. And they just added like 20 other characters that were just clones. So like, I get the idea of getting maybe a stock set of characters and then buying more characters, getting gameplay, but guys, like powered up weapons just to be like the best at a game is just something that I guess for myself, I just don't. I must be an old fogey, man. Like I don't
No,
get
I think
it.
that has no place in games either. Cosmetic items, sure. If you want to buy a different hat or a skirt, by all means go ahead, whatever floats your boat. You know, but if it's when it like changes the game, that's when, you know, I have an issue with it.
Yeah, because then you're just paying to win, essentially.
Yep.
Like if I put more money in, I can just win better than. I don't know, man. I don't know. Andy, you have anything you want to add to that? Is there anything you got to
No,
say
I
about?
mean you got it set on the thing, set right on the nail. You know, hammer on the nail type deal. You know, I don't mind paying for some sort of item that makes me look goofy, but if somebody's gonna buy
Or
that gun, that's
characters or levels.
exactly.
Right.
Or you know, just as you said with the Witcher and even Dragon Age, the DLCs they had meat to it. They gave you, you know, hours of more gameplay as opposed to just a gun that you can go through and one hit everybody.
One hit, boom headshot. You know, like,
Right.
and then to say like we're never gonna make certain games now because there's no money in it. To me, just says that means there's tons of money in that. You know what I mean? Like, just watch Mario obliterate those fucking.
I mean, Mario is gonna sell really well. Zelda Breath of the Wild sold really well. Nier Automata sold really well.
Nier's a
Neo
good example.
sold really well as well.
Nier's a great example because they can't pin it on the well. Nintendo's Nintendo. We can't all be Nintendo, you know. Even though EA has many times tried to be Nintendo. Remember Boom Blocks? You know, you know,
That's
you
a
know,
fun game.
EA and Activision, dude. I just watched EA. They used to be one of the premier developers when I was a kid, and I just watched them just like look what they did to like The Sims. You know, they just monetized it into oblivion. And Activision did the same thing with fucking the Tony Hawk franchise and the Spider-Man franchise. You know, I have a feeling that the new Spider-Man game that Insomnia is spending all this time on is gonna fucking, maybe I'm wrong, but I got a feeling it's gonna sell pretty fucking well. You know, like, and then watch what Capcom just did with the Marvel. So Marvel versus Capcom. I think the estimates were like 10,000 copies sold. You know, like, oh, I want to bring this up, guys. So just sort of piggybacks off this. I will say this. This came out of. Are you guys aware of a YouTube channel, Liam Robertson, the gaming history guy?
Yes.
Did you guys say no and yes, or were they both yes?
No, they're
Well,
both
the
yes.
name didn't ring a bell, but when you said the gaming historian, yes. And then I'm like, okay.
Game history guy. So he posted this video a couple weeks back. It's 5 minutes long. I'll show you guys really. I'm not gonna play the video because I'll get fucking. But here's the. We'll have links, and this is about Marvel versus Capcom. Right here, brief investigation. Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, and basically he was saying that the entire budget for Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite was little over half of Street Fighter V's DLC. Not Street Fighter V, but the DLC for Street Fighter V. You know, further proving a point that, like, the idea of just slap. Didn't THQ prove you can't just unceremoniously just drop a license on some shitty fucking content? Like, and expect it to move? You know, like.
I mean, Capcom pretty much did in this game what Capcom used to do, and they took all their old assets and just, you know, put them into a new engine for the most part. And then, yeah, sure, they had to make some new characters, but if you look at all the old, like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, everybody loves that game, but it's just all the assets from all the other versus games.
Yeah, but at least it came with the grip of characters and it looked
True.
artistic. I think my biggest problem I've said with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite from the beginning is it looks generic. It's
Oh
kind of
god,
like
I finally played it and I was playing the story mode. I'm like, I can't.
Andy, you're a comic book dude, right?
Yep.
So you know the difference between like when someone with the strong artistic style, like a Jim Lee or a Joe Mad, when they draw the Avengers, it looks like one thing, right?
Right.
And then when you go to Walmart and you buy a backpack, it's got this generic airbrush version of the Avengers, right?
Right.
Right? You know the difference,
Yes, I
right?
do.
So one's artistic, one's generic, and that's
Yeah,
the
those t-shirt artists are the worst.
we're the worst. Guys, I've had to do it. You just look at these style guides, you're like, oh, I will never forget the worst style guide I have ever seen. Right, for a major film was The Amazing Spider-Man. Having worked on Spider-Man, even Spider-Man 3, the style guide was way artistic. You get to this Amazing Spider-Man, and they just had that really bad lizard look like that Goomba from the Mario Brothers movie, and he's always kind of smiling. He kind of looks like a bald burn victim, smiling all the time. It's horrible. And we're like, I'm supposed to put this. How am I supposed to? What kid's gonna want this fucking shit? We got at the time we had Angry Birds we had to compete with, and was that Where's My Water, Little Gator and shit, and fucking the platypus cartoon with the blue platypus, whatever that was called, Phineas and Ferb, and like fucking Amazing Spider-Man was just so generic. I'm like, can't they just draw this shit? Can't they just hire a guy to draw some fucking lizards, man, that just fucking don't look stupid? And so I'm like, what are they supposed to do? They're supposed to buy the shirt that has the lizard, get the backpack and the lunch pail that all have the same shit on it. Like who's gonna do that? So I don't know, man. I'm glad to see Marvel vs. Capcom's Infinite not do well. Further, other bring up a point. There's been rumors now. Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal put out an article. I don't have a link to it, but I just read it this morning. Was the Wall Street Journal is predicting Capcom will get sold, which I've been saying for 2 or 3 years now on this fucking cast that they need to get bought out. They're probably gonna have to get sold at some point. I'm personally hoping it's Nintendo, given how much there's a relationship between Capcom and Nintendo with Smash Brothers, even back to the Zelda games on the Game Boy Color. But Wesley and then Andy, if Capcom had to get bought out by a major company, who would you think would be a good pick for that?
Oh fuck. uh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not Nintendo. Who else? Who else? EA?
No.
And they can go back to making more Marvel fighting games.
Like the major companies or like semi-major, I would say maybe Namco. Japanese roots, anime roots, fighting game roots. They've already done some collabs, so like maybe we get more Tekken, Street Fighter crossovers to start slamming all the characters together. Dragon Ball versus X-Men.
Well, Dragon Ball's over at Arc System Works, right?
Yeah, but it's still a Bandai Namco.
Wouldn't it be great if Arc took out a loan and bought Capcom?
Well, that would be cool. I mean, they're a weird little publisher. They need a big loan because like their games here get published by Exceed, who's very small, and then obviously Namco's publishing Dragon Ball, which is a big step up for them. But that'd be cool just to see a company like or whoever buy it and then just be like, hey, the next Marvel vs. Capcom is being done by Arc.
Good pick. Andy, do you have a suggestion for who should buy out Capcom?
I do, and it's probably not going to be a popular opinion. I think that Sony would have to step in and get them and make a spiritual successor to PlayStation All-Stars. That is Sony versus Capcom. So you can have your Kratos versus
Flower versus Mega Man.
Hey, Sackboy versus Mega Man. I don't know.
All right, you got me on that one. Sackboy would be good.
I mean, you could easily. So it's not going to be the Super Smash Brothers style, but you could do it like the Marvel vs. Capcom style. I think that would have been a lot better to begin with for that game. And I think Sony would make something similar to that, which I think would be a lot of fun.
I'm assuming there'd be no crossplay.
Yeah.
Unless you click the button, right?
Douche. PS4, PC crossplay. How about a Bethesda, and then you can get Shinji Mikami can take back over Resident Evil.
That's actually not a bad idea, huh? I just don't think an
Konami Inc. could do
American
it.
company can pick up Capcom. I don't know, man. Maybe that's what I fear is you'll see a merging of like Konami and Capcom. Just get this ultimate
God.
like Yakuza.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Let's get those Mega Man pachinko machines.
No more Mega Man, just in the pachinko from here on out, right? Oh my goodness. All right. Moving right along. It's okay. Wesley, you want to pick a topic? You want to pick anything here?
Well, I guess just really quick, we can get into it just a little bit, which would piggyback off what we were previously talking about with microtransactions, is Activision's new patent that they got approved. I don't know if you saw this, but basically they have patented a way of basically selling microtransactions to people in games. They do so by using matchmaking and pairing you with somebody who has already bought some better stuff, and then making you see the stuff to then want you to buy it, So like I can just see, like, so far they said they have not used it in any games. Destiny does not use it, but you can imagine a game like Call of Duty, you happen to be on a map that's favors snipers, so they put you in a match with some people who have bought the best sniper rifles, and then you're just getting destroyed, and you're like, well, I want to be good. Clearly, I need to use this sniper rifle because, looking at the leaderboard, the top 3 people all have this sniper rifle.
Are you guys familiar with the company called Mad Catz?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So Mad Catz, they're now out of business, but they used to make peripherals controllers. And if there was like the Nintendo controller, and then there was like, the cheaper version, 2 versions below that would be the Mad Catz controller. They always seem to just add weird grips, weird cheap buttons. Their products just never felt right. I managed to go to Mad Catz once, and their whole studio headquarters felt just as cheap as the packaging and the plastics that they use. There's something very not genuine about it. Having been to Activision, I got the same feeling at Activision that I got at Mad Catz. I was like, there's something not right about this place. Like, it doesn't have this. I've been to Microsoft Studios, been to Sony Studios, Blizzard, a couple different places, but the Activision always felt like there's something really, they're not putting the money into this place. Wherever it's going somewhere, but it just didn't feel, I don't know, there's something very...
It's going into Bobby Kodak's pants.
Is he still
right
running?
into his wallet. I think so.
Man, it's like a Michael Packner. It's like I hear Bobby Kotick and I think back to 2004, 2005 Hot Coffee Mod. And
yeah, he's still the CEO.
Well,
according to Wikipedia, so it's true.
Right. So would that get you? Okay, Andy, you're playing Destiny 4, right? And it looks just like whatever. You're playing Destiny 3, and you're, I don't know, space marining in it across the galaxy. You see someone with a great weapon. Do you then go, I gotta buy that? Like if they say, yeah, the only way you can get it is to spend money. It was like, would that entice you?
It wouldn't. No. I mean, as long as I'm enjoying the game, I'll continue to play it as I see fit. But and then if it becomes too overpowered, like everybody but myself has purchased that sniper rifle for $10, I mean, that's when I start to gauge how much time I've already put into it, and I'll actually move on to the next game.
Can you even tell the weapons, like, from other people's weapons? I'm curious because, like, I think to like Mario Kart 8. Like, Wesley, if you're playing Mario Kart 8 and someone parachutes off a drop and they have a special Wario parachute you don't have, do you really notice that in the middle of gameplay?
I mean, that's one thing, but like Destiny's a good example. Like when you play multiplayer, and every time you die, it tells you what gun killed you.
Okay.
And that makes me go like, damn, I'm getting killed by this gun a lot. I need to get this gun. Luckily in Destiny, it's just about drops or a quest chain I haven't done yet.
But
Do
how
you-
long do you think that'll be
How long you think it'll be
before they start implementing the purchase of the weapons like that?
That I don't know. Like, if they want to keep, pay to win out of it, then it's going to be a long time. But they can definitely condition it in a way that maybe, oh, that gun happens to be in this DLC I don't have, or this, map pack. And there's other ways around. That would be the sneaky way of doing it. Like, we're not selling a gun, but we're selling this exclusive mission for a couple bucks. And in that mission, you get some weapons. They already do it in Hearthstone, where they have like,
but Hearthstone's free, right?
yeah, Hearthstone's free, but yeah, there's new card packs that come out. There's new expansion packs, but then they used to do these like missions, and you would have to like go through the quest mode, and if you didn't beat certain parts of it, you could get through them for free if you unlocked it with enough in-game currency, or you just go out and you outright buy it because you're like, shit, I need these cards because everybody's using these cards, and clearly this is the meta of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I see to be a little bit different from the other games, just because they're trying to follow the trading card craze for the trading card games, that you can actually go out and buy the physical packs. Just when Pokemon came out, everybody was out and about trying to spend their $3-4 to grab a pack of 7 cards. So
Yeah, that's the funniest thing. I was literally thinking about this. Someone kind of brought it up too, but I was like, the whole time I'm like, aren't baseball cards and trading cards just real life loot boxes?
right.
Like, except where they do put the odds on the box saying like you have a 1 in 54 chance of getting, a card with a piece of baseball glove on it, or a
Good point.
holographic card.
Great point, Wesley. And I would bring this up: baseball cards and trading cards. Baseball cards imploded in the late 80s, and all those people that inflated that market moved into comic books and built up the trading card and the variant weird holographic cover craze that crashed that industry. So I say, if that's the way this is going, can games sustain $60 purchase on top of $300-400 worth of trading card like microtransactions? Can it sustain that, or are we looking at in the next 5 to 10 years, within the next 10 years, a giant crash? Because there's going to be a backlash from independent developers. They're going to be. I can see it right now. Our game requires none of that shit. Fund us on our Patreon and Kickstarter, and then everyone goes there. Case in point, look at the Battlegrounds or the Battle Royale game that just came out, right? And then immediately Epic like lynches that gameplay mode. So could there be a situation where, oh man, that's two separate topics, but I want to get back to the idea of, does that trading card mentality have a limit, and do you feel it will push toward a game crash, or do you think there is no limit to this, that we've only seen the beginning? Anyway,
I think there's a limit. There's a certain, okay, so like League of Legends, Dota 2, and luckily because Blizzard, here the storm. You have like 3 MOBAs, and all these other MOBAs have come and went since then. And I think you're going to see all these games like Shadows of War throwing in loot boxes, and there's going to be a few games that everybody accepts it with, and then there's going to be a bunch of games that people are going to be like, no, this does not make sense for your game. You're just tacking it on, just like they used to tack multiplayer in the single player games that didn't need it and nobody would play it. And then, they were, when, hey, this game didn't sell enough copies because we spent this much money making the game, whereas if they, probably would have been profitable had they cut out that extra expense that they thought they needed because of marketing reasons.
and now we want them to tack on single player games into multiplayer games. Weird how that inverted, right? Andy, do you think this is a preview of a looming crash, or do you think that it's only the beginning of?
I think it's really only the beginning. As Wesley was stating, I mean, people it depends on the game, and I think there's so many games that are coming out now that if you're not happy with one game, you're just going to move on to the next game. And if I find a game that I'm happy with and I want to spend that money on, I'm just going to continue to do it. And I don't know. I think that it's going to build up. I don't think it's going to crash. Or if it does crash, it's not going to be for quite some time. So it's going to be a little bit different from what trading cards, like the baseball cards and the comic books did, because those are just going to build up and build up and build up, and they're not going to move. Whereas all this content is digital, so a lot of people don't even think about it anymore. It's once it's out of my wallet and out of my sight, it's out of my mind. So I've spent so much money, I'm just going to move on to the next game and continue on doing it that way.
Interesting. All right, well, that's enough for that. Andy, you want to pick a topic?
Yes, so I was looking at it. It's going to be the PlayStation gets a new CEO. Andrew House steps down. So
All right,
let's
see.
That's if you're gonna pull that up, but
yeah,
Andrew House has left the house.
Exactly. It's I mean, I understand why certain people step down, but at the same time, it's almost weird to see them step down. It's same thing what happened with, I believe it's Jack Tretton for Sony when he stepped down during the height of the PlayStation 4 and he moved on. It's kind of weird to see Andrew House. I thought Andrew House was going to be there for I don't even know how long.
I mean, he saw the looming Xbox One X and he's just like, I got to get out. We're
move, bitch! Get the fuck out the way. Excellent commentary. Excellent commentary, Wesley. That's why we keep you around. Yeah, the scary Xbox One fucking. Oh my goodness! I think that I read an article that said Xbox One's been out like was it 3 or 4 years, and there's been a new Xbox like every year now. Going on
3 and 4 years.
Yeah, 3 and 4 years has been new hardware. Like, has any system ever done that? I don't think so, right? Like that's.
I mean, okay, so I mean the PlayStation's in 2, but they had a remodel as well. So I mean that is technically new hardware. The Xbox One S does have slightly more processing power than the original Xbox, but I mean PlayStation's done a slim version already on the regular, so it's got different chipsets in there, and they have a Pro as well. So it's 3 and 4 years as well.
I think for me, the closest I can think of is maybe the Nintendo 64, where, less than a year in, you get a Rumble Pack, which changes the whole system, and then you get when did the RAM Pack came out? A year or 2 years after that, the RAM expansion. I think it was 2 years or a year and a half after that. You get the RAM expansion because it came out in '99, so it was 2 years. So within 3 years, you had RAM expansion plus Rumble plus. The fucking stupid camera. They ditched the disc system, the DD, from the States, but that did come out in Japan, so that might be the closest I can think of in terms of a short term. Because even the Sega CD, that was 3 years before that hit.
That's 3 years after.
Right. But in terms of
32X was another 3 years, I believe.
But in terms of new actual box hardware, I've just. Think about how long it took Microsoft to change that fatty controller on the original Xbox.
And they're bringing that back, right?
Why? Why not bring Mad Catz back to?
I think they're letting Nyko or somebody license and make, or some other just random company make the Duke again. So they're not officially making it themselves, but they've granted someone the rights to do it.
It's a horrible controller.
Yeah,
it's horrible. The jeweled buttons. The jeweled buttons are the worst. They actually hurt your thumb. I remember getting a callus because I bought an Xbox so I could play Psychonauts, and then they canceled it, and then they brought it back, and I got Psychonauts. But other than that, the only other game I played on it was the WrestleMania, and NFL 2K5. I think that was it. But that fucking.
I mean, Nintendo is not too far off too with the DS, the DS Lite, the DSi.
But that's not a $400 system.
Okay. True, but granted, then Sony isn't not that much crazier. They're at 2, and if you count the Slim, then they're at 3.
I think we can all agree that the big two, Sony and Microsoft, both tried to pull a little bit of a Wii, and it sounds weird, right? They're pulling a Wii, and tried to release underpowered hardware to make a profit or take less a hit on the hardware than they normally would in a new generation. And it hasn't helped with the longevity of the systems because the last systems lasted like 8 years. And these systems aren't lasting apparently a year on Microsoft's side, and then on Sony's side, 3 or 4 years in terms of before they. Now they're like, we're gonna have two ecosystems. We're gonna have the Pro, and what version of the Pro, right? Pro 1, Pro 2. I mean,
They got one Pro so far, but like I said, they revised the regular PlayStation into the Slim.
yeah, but shrinking it down, I always got because it lowered cost. But they're adding hardware to increase processing
That's what Microsoft
power.
did with the Xbox One X. They shrunk it down. They just also saw that they were able to add a little bit more to it. They didn't change the price. The Xbox One S wasn't more expensive than an Xbox One. It replaced it.
Okay, you got me there. But the guys, look, full disclosure, I fucking hate Xbox. So, you know what? I don't even hide that. Like, I bought an Xbox, didn't really get to use it other than Psychonauts. Bought an Xbox 360 for the original Dead Rising, and loved Crackdown 1. Crackdown 1 co-op was the shit, and then it fucking red ringed its first year, and then that's it. Never used it again. You know. So I didn't even want a PlayStation 3 until like the Dell had some deal. It was like $400, but you got like 6 fucking games plus Blu-rays. It was some crazy fucking deal for the fatty, the 60 gig PS3. And so I got it with a grip. I got it with MotorStorm 1 and fucking what was that fucking that Folklore? Is that the game I'm thinking of? Folklore? It was like a Tim Burton-y kind of Pokemon Japanese RPG style Folklore. So. Got it with Folklore and a few other games.
I still have a sealed copy of that game.
It's actually good. It's actually a pretty cool game, Folklore.
Sealed copy. I just never got it.
You can always give it away on the cast. Win a free copy of PlayStation 3's Folklore, which is not backwards compatible. But I found way more enjoyment for the PlayStation 3, and I didn't even want one. I just $600 fucking dollars, guys. I mean, so whatever. The CEO stepping down. Wesley, how will that affect us as Sony fans? Like, if you're on a PS4, did Andrew House have the vision?
I think so to like the average person, they probably won't even ever know about this. They don't even probably know who he was, but it could. He was there with the launch of PS4. He was very focused on, what got it to be the success it is. I remember when Kojima finally left Konami, he was there sitting, with him, announcing their partnership, and he seemed, pretty vital to things like that. So I'm not sure if this new guy, will be able to do what he did, but I don't know. We'll see. I think, if Sony, he's mentoring the guy right, and it's just like a mini version of him, they'll be fine.
And Andy, is this going to affect your life much? Are you weeping? Are you happy?
No, I mean, I don't. I think I'm neutral with it, to be honest. But I am curious to see where it will go. It's almost like, not like the change of hands for Nintendo. When they lost their president, but if you look
Sony
at it,
have a Reggie waiting.
right? Yeah, they have to have somebody. I don't know. I am genuinely curious to see where it goes, because I do pay attention to that kind of stuff, and to see who steps in, and from there, how do they handle the reins of this, this carriage that's,
Two predictions. I got 2 predictions. I got 2 names for you. 1, Peter Moore, or 2, what's the fucking dude that used to be? Oh man, what's the guy that took over for PlayStation now? Right? Remember he took over at THQ. What's his fucking name? I'm Brain farting. Used to work at Neversoft, I want to say.
Oh, not THQ. Think of Interplay. Dave Perry.
Dave Perry. So, thank you. See, Wesley, you don't.
He's randomly, like, I'm connected with him on LinkedIn. He's working at some like influencer upstart company. And, like,
Didn't he make
influencer marketing
Messiah?
now.
Didn't Dave Perry
Yeah.
make Messiah?
Yeah, Messiah, Earthworm Jim, MDK.
Little bit of gaming history, folks. Messiah was his game that came out on the PC where you played like a cherub, like a baby. And it was supposed to have true tessellation. And the idea, and Andy, I shit you not, Wesley will remember this. There was this giant write-up Next Generation magazine did about Messiah is the Messiah of gaming, where as the hardware increases, the game will look better and better. It will scale up automatically, right? So Messiah could look 10 times better 10 years from now. I'm willing to bet it doesn't look 1 fucking ounce difference. That tessellation thing never really happened, you know?
Well, I mean, tessellation is not gonna give you new fucking textures.
Right? I mean, if you could add tessellation to No Man's Sky and everything was procedurally generated, I suppose. But even then, I just remember reading that article thinking like this is the biggest heap of fucking bullshit hype I've ever seen since blast processing. This was 97 I was reading this, so but I remember going, this is worse than when they tried to tell me that Sonic was somehow doing something better than I don't know. That was fucking weird. But Dave Powell, never forget Messiah's tessellation. But that was the days when Next Generation magazine was really anti-Nintendo, so it was just like it was basically like taking a shot at Nintendo's blurry, Nintendo N64's blurry textures. And also Trespasser had come out that year, or was coming out, and was deemed to be kind of a failure. So if you guys don't remember Trespasser, the Jurassic Park game that is still unplayable. So, okay, we're already at 40 minutes here. I want to kind of skip, let's talk to Now Playing. Let's just jump there really quickly. And Andy, for the last couple weeks, you have been playing South Park: The Fractured But Whole.
That's right. And it was fun. I actually completed the campaign.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. But I was trying to do all the collectibles. I kind of fucked that up. Yeah, there was one spot. There's you go into a strip club, and if you're doing the collectibles before you do the boss fight in the strip club, make sure you go into the owner's office, because you can't get in there after that. Like, it's completely if I have to do the collectibles, I have to start the game all over again.
Sounds like Maniac Mansion.
Right. Other than that, I mean, it's pretty good. I enjoyed it a lot. I was just kind of binged it as soon as I got it, and I think it was better, in my personal opinion, than the Stick of Truth.
Did it have more original story and jokes in this? Because the Stick of Truth sort of like put a lot of the best of jokes from the series into the game.
It's a little bit. I mean, it had a lot of banter between the characters. So when you're doing the turn-based battles, they had a lot of their banter. They were just talking shit about each other. It didn't matter if you were going against Stan's dad, or if you were, partnered up. Because if you do certain characters in your party, they'll make fun of each other just based off of their superhero costumes. So that was refreshing from time to time. There was a lot of references to other TV shows. It always continued to, I don't know, pull me out of the gaming experience almost, because they were making references to real life things, if that makes sense. Like, it's not some generic thing that's like, okay, I can kind of, put the dots, connect the dots to whatever it is that's actually real. But they'd go out there and talk shit about Twitter or something, and it would make me laugh, because it's like, oh, Twitter is an actual thing, and they're making fun of it, so they'll continue to do that. And it's a lot of fun. I wouldn't say it was game of the year, but it's definitely, if you're on the fence of playing it or not, I suggest you play it.
And there's not a lot of humorous games these days, right? Like just
Right.
comedies. So
Do you think you have to be a South Park fan to truly appreciate it?
Not necessarily. I mean, if you just pay attention to anything around you, they make plenty of references to pop culture and stuff that you'll get it. And it's not necessarily them taking a shit on everything. So if you like turn-based fantasy games and superheroes and almost like hanging out with your friends, it's a lot of fun.
Oh, I
Super
mean,
sweet.
I'm a fan of South Park, so I'm in the demographic for this game. But I was just
Right.
curious to know, like, maybe someone who's not, or what if you're like really sensitive to
Anything
having
sad. If you're
everything?
sensitive, you shouldn't watch anything with South Park in it. Like regardless, like they everyone gets thrown under the bus in that. The
Yeah, I
worst is
mean,
the worst is when they make fun of something that your significant other is all about, and you're sitting there like, like we bought a house over here, and they did that white people renovating houses episode in the new season of South Park, and everything my wife wanted in a house they were making fun of. So
They're
I
like,
was just
oh,
looking at her.
it needs to be open concept.
That's exactly what she wanted. An open concept because she had to keep telling me about this. And so when Stan's dad's running around, open concept kitchen, I'm looking at her. She's like, she's like, well, you're sleeping in the guest bedroom for the next month. I was
But
like,
yeah,
road trip. Like, so that's cool. Worth the full price, first week price there, Andy, or should people wait?
I mean, you could wait a little bit. The game is fairly short. I ran through it and did a lot of the collectibles and beat the game in, I want to say, about 15 hours. So I'd
For an
wait for
RPG,
maybe,
yeah.
right. Well, I mean, it's still South Park.
Mm.
So,
It's 15 hours at South Park, right? So that's like,
right, exactly. And it did get a little bit long at the end where I was just like, okay, I'm ready to be done with this. But it's like the typical RPG style where it's like, okay, are you ready to do a boss? Great. Now do another boss. Now do another one and one more. I was like, I'm done. Especially when it's late at night. I'm like, I just want to stop and go to bed. So I think I beat it in 15 hours. I think if they pulled it back and made it a 10-hour game, or maybe something like that, it would be perfect.
oh, so you think if it was a little shorter, it would.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do in a tiny town. You know what I mean? So,
In a podunk.
but yeah, so I mean, well, I'd wait for a sale.
All right.
$20 off or something.
Yeah,
Wesley,
it's
is
supposed to be. I think there's a buy two get one free sale this weekend at Target.
There you go.
Wesley always ready. Wesley, what have you been playing?
Here, give me like 2 seconds, really quick.
All right.
Sorry.
One. So I actually haven't been playing jack shit. My copy of Mario Odyssey showed up today, but it got delivered to my rental, the place where I left. So it's on the other side of town, and I have to go there tomorrow just to like blow leaves and kind of pick up the yard before we close out on it. And so I'm like, well, I'll just pick it up tomorrow, whatever. So I'm not allowed. I can't go anywhere near Twitter right now because like everyone's just who's breathing into the mic?
It's probably me. I'm back.
Man, Wesley, that Pocky just gets you going.
It
So
does.
we're talking about Mario Odyssey and how like it got delivered to my rental across town. I'll have to go pick up tomorrow. But you've been playing it, right, Wesley?
Yeah, I played probably like 2-ish hours today. I don't know. I was playing it watching the World Series game, so actually probably even longer, maybe like 3 or 4 hours today. I feel like I've done most of the desert area. So yeah, it's
Have you gotten to play Mario with the nipples?
not what, not yet, but I have the option of buying his swim trunks or whatever, his boxer shorts. It costs 1,000 coins.
Real money or like this part of the microtransactions conversation?
Well, so each area has its own unique currency. In the desert area, there's like these little purple tortilla chip looking things.
Mm.
And then there's just your straight coins. And the shop, there's items that you buy with each one.
Okay.
So with the purple coins, I got like a sombrero and one of those and a poncho, and then I eventually got a cowboy hat and cowboy boot thing. Because depending on the level, if you want to enter like a certain door, the guy's like, "Hey, you need to look like you need to dress like us, and I'll let you into this party."
You need to dress like us. They're very coy. They can't say you need to
Yeah.
look like.
So yeah,
We
bought a
can't say
poncho, and
that
then
because
you go in there and you start playing music, and eventually a shine pops, or not shine, a moon. So
Yeah, I've been rewatching a lot of YouTube videos on the release of Mario 64, and because for me, Mario Odyssey is like it gives me the same feeling I had the first time I saw Mario 64. And when I picked up Mario, so it was the first time I bought my own system, when that came out. I just got out of high school and I got it launch day, September 29th, 1996. Which actually I think I got it like the day before because KB fucking broke release on that. But so I've been really excited about Mario Odyssey. Wesley, is this more like Mario 64 or is it more like more like Galaxy? Because they always said Galaxy was like the true sequel to Mario 64. I never felt like it was like that at all.
yeah, I would say it's more like Mario 64. I've only ran around one environment, well, or two, but one like big Mario 64 like environment where there's buildings to climb, there's areas, there's different sections within the map to do different things, and you have to use different items. Like in Mario 64, there's like the penguin level where you'd race the penguin. So I haven't done a race, but I've done like an obstacle course on like some mobile creature. I forget what it is. It's like a little sphinx or something like that. And there's some like hang gliding stuff, and there's a bunch of different things to do. It's not just platforming and trying to like get to the top of a building or killing a certain amount of Goombas or Koopa Troopers. So there's constantly little things to explore and secrets to find, places to ground pound, and yeah, and then just fucking whimsical is like the easiest way to put it. Like the music's fantastic, it looks great. Like my only gripe, which is super small, is that the game is designed to be played with motion controllers.
This has been a topic of contention I have seen. So, like, it's getting some negative reviews that it's not mandatory, but there are to get 100% of everything. And by 100%, I think they're saying like somewhere between 12 and 20 specific moons or whatever it is that you have to collect in the game require the use of like waggle-like controls, which are almost impossible to do while it's connected to when you're just playing it like in handheld mode.
If you're playing handheld mode, it's really freaking hard. I was doing that during the game because like I found like a fishing area, and to help pull the thing out, I had to like use the left stick in the circular motion, but shake the Wiimote, which meant shake the freaking console. Luckily, this was just a fishing line, so I didn't need to be focused on the screen. But I can imagine if you need to be looking at the screen and you're shaking the damn thing, it's going to be really hard to focus.
Well, this happened to me
When I
on the
was
Breath of the Wild. There's this one shrine early on in the game where you gotta like turn the controllers over, and I play it handheld like in my bed before I go to sleep. And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to see the screen? And I was like, oh, I'll fucking disconnect the controllers, and then it was super easy. But I don't know about you guys. I mean, I think we can all agree, like, aside from VR, right? Like VR to me is where the waggle thing makes a lot of sense. But I think we're all kind of done with it,
Yeah.
in terms of.
Yeah, and I was using a Pro controller when I was in dock mode, and that was easier. And Pro controller is pretty responsive. So like Mario can throw his hat in a circle around him, and that kind of requires you to do like a hook motion. And it worked. If I like did a circular motion with it's funny, I'm doing a circular motion right now with nothing in my hands. But if you do it with the Pro controller, it was working
You're like
8 or 9 times out of 10.
when you remember when we were kids and you'd see someone play Mario and they
Mhm.
try to use the controller to make Mario jump extra, and you're like, it doesn't do shit, dumbass. Like, and now you have to do that. Like I always thought the people, like even when I was a kid, I watched people doing that. I go, man, you look stupid. But I mean, I don't know, like, like I just the idea of look, it's what 12 or 20, whatever. It's like 12 moons or something that I require this shit. But I'm with you. Like, I want no waggle ever, like in my games. I'm tired of like shaking the controller and jerking off my fucking pro controller to make some shit work or flip it upside down. It makes sense if you want to pretend to play golf to an extent. But that being said, I'm playing this golf game on my PS4. I think it's called like Everyone Golf or something like that. And it's like this golfing RPG where the courses are like little.
Formerly the Hotshot Golf game.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing, dude. You know, and I don't. It doesn't require waggles and shit. Plays great, racing around in golf carts. Like they turn the golf courses into like Mario levels, essentially. It's like, and so there's tons of other shit to do and everything. But I don't know. I'm hoping like they get the statistics on the waggle. You guys ever play Mario Kart? And you can in Mario Kart, like especially 8, you can see the different control schemes everyone's using. And you ever see that one person that has the wheel? Like there's one asshole who's still got the fucking Mario wheel attached.
And they beat the shit out of you.
And they beat the shit out of you. You're like, that fucker, I hate you.
They have like the golden wheel.
Somehow they got really good with that. There's always that motherfucker who got real good with the stupid wheel. And I keep thinking, is the game like giving them a handicap bonus? Like, is it compensating somehow for that, you know? And it's not really leveled out or evened out, you know? So, I don't know. So, you didn't really like that, but I guess it's like minor, right?
I mean, it's super minor. Like, I'm enjoying the game so much. I've been like, it's kind of annoying, but
yeah, if I could put up with the C stick, remember on the 64, the camera was controlled by these buttons called the C stick, but they were the C buttons. And it sucked. You know, like even in 96, it was like, okay, the camera is like kind of a pain and it's constantly like moving or recentering. Like you would move the camera this way and it would constantly be like, you have to keep doing this. So I figure if I could put up with that, you know, every now and then a stupid fucking waggle move comes up that I have to use, then I guess whatever. Wesley, did you get any of the amiibos? The wedding ones or
no. I did buy 2 new amiibos today, but they weren't the Mario ones. They're cool looking. You know, the Best Buy I went into to pick up my game, they only had the Mario available, but I could see in their holding section a bunch of Peaches and Bowsers on hold there, as well as Mario. And they're neat looking. Funny thing, I got to the point in the game where you can use an amiibo, and so I grabbed my 25th anniversary Mario amiibo, and it's not compatible with the game.
Of course.
Like how? But then I put fucking Zelda on there, the Smash Brothers Zelda, and she worked.
Yeah, good
I
time.
was like, why doesn't the fucking Mario amiibo work in a Mario game?
Yeah, that's right. I thought most all amiibos worked for most old games, right?
Yeah,
Even if it was something
part,
nothing but like a couple coins, but they still work.
That's what Bacon would tell himself every time he bought an amiibo. They're gonna work in all the games, dude. I'm like, they're not gonna work in all the fucking games.
Well, the 2 amiibos I bought today were Crom and Tiki from Fire Emblem.
And they don't work with your mobile game, right? They don't work with the mobile.
No. I'm sure. I mean, that'd be smart of Nintendo. They could probably make a little adapter for your cell phone.
Yeah, you can plug right in where your earphones are supposed to go in.
In fact, they have a fucking adapter for the 3DS, because the new 3DS has amiibo functionality built into it. But if you just have the regular 3DS, there's a little adapter you can buy for like Smash Brothers.
All right, the little platform.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, I like the Fire Emblem ones, and supposedly they all work in Fire Emblem Warriors, which I did pick up, but I have yet to play.
Well, Mario Odyssey has got a 97 Metacritic right now, so it's doing pretty good, all things considered.
Has a 98 on OpenCritic.
What's the difference between OpenCritic and Metacritic, other than they're different sites? Like what?
People's jobs don't depend on OpenCritic.
Does anyone at Nintendo, does their jobs really depend on Metacritic? Do they care?
Oh no.
They don't care. It's a EA Activision thing, right?
I like OpenCritic though. It's just a nicer looking site. They actually started adding. I think they added something for loot boxes now too. So like they'll tell you if a game needs loot boxes. There's some neat little additions on here.
This is Open Critic. I've never been here before. It's the first time, folks. So yeah, it's got a 98, a little mighty sticker. It's very Game Pro-ish.
Mighty, strong, fair, weak. You can click on any of the reviews and it'll, takes you right there. It's a cleaner setup. And
Destructoid. Chris Carter redoing the review over there. Good times. Is Matt Cabral anywhere on here? I think Matt made it. He doesn't really play Nintendo games, right? Like he's more of like a Destiny or Assassin's Creed dude.
Don't see him.
Don't see
him. It was really funny. If you look on Open Critic for Mario, there is the one, maybe it was on Metacritic. There's one review, it was like a Russian outlet that gave the game like a 7.5, and people just bombarded.
They decided to be that guy. What was that, Armand White? Remember the one movie reviewer who would just give like the shittiest movie, like Postal, a fucking 10, and then he'd give The Dark Knight a 3. Like, and they eventually had to revoke his Rotten Tomato status.
I dropped a link in the Discord to the Russian site.
Let's bring this one up.
It's pretty funny. I was using Google Translate yesterday most of the comments are in English, but the review itself is hilarious when Google translates it.
Okay, so this is...
Hey, I think Google Translate's opening line is... Let me see if I can find it.
I like this. You take the controller, start the game, and play some more. You defeat Bowser, save the princess, watch the end credits, then play some more, and some more afterwards. Then you sit behind your keyboard and write a text about the game.
There's a line that says, it would be enough to say Super Mario, and the thumbs of every video game enthusiast would already start to jerk.
The desire to play is overflowing all limits. That right there should be the fucking slogan for this cast. This comes from... Oh, they got a Play magazine, Wesley. How cute is that? Right? That's Play in Russia. This is from Play in Russia. See, there's like different Play magazines across the globe. So when I'm like, hey, we used to work at Play magazine, they're like, with this one? No, there's a lot of Plays. Like, this is Play with an exclamation point. Same kind of bullshit fonts though, but I love that. The desire to play is overflowing all limits. Oh, that's an amazing...
I'm sure it reads much more eloquently in Russian, but...
Newer, prettier, and better will surely come sooner or later. That is great, dude. That could be at the end of every review ever.
Yeah, but just get to the comics. Let's look at how many comments are in that article.
Let's see here. There's not a lot.
Russia again.
Troll review is a troll.
137, yeah.
Really classy. So this is the comments you're talking about, or am I missing something?
I guess. Yeah, I don't know if they were like that vindictive comments, but it was just funny that all these like English speakers were like hopping on the site to yell at them. Like, how could you give FIFA an 88 and you give this game a 75?
I would go read NeoGAF's take on it, but they had their day in the sun this week.
Did you have you seen the new alternative to NeoGAF?
Oh, like replay, restart,
Resetera.
Yeah, reset era. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't care. It's just another place where I just wait for them to open up the Dave Halverson thread, and then I go on there and just wait for my name to get thrown under the bus. But let's see here. What's not that good? To start off, not too much. This is amazing, Andy. I think we should go do spoken word night somewhere and just read, just read, read one of these fucking translator reviews. This is amazing.
That'd be some sweet content. I'm down for that.
Is this does this review a system seller for you? Like,
I'm going out tomorrow to buy myself a Switch and Mario.
is your desire to play overflowing all limits? That is an amazing quote. I want the shirt. My desire to play is overflowing all limits. Man, it's so great. He even repeated the keyboard thing down here, but whatever. Good times, everybody. We're already at the hour, so we'll skip flashback and everything else. Is there anything else anyone wants to mention before we go? Because we're already over the hour limit.
No, nothing on my end here.
All right, Wesley?
No, I'm pretty good. We can hopefully I'll have played more Shadow of War by next time. But I also kind of feel like I'm fucking done with that game. So
Well, we're definitely up. We got a lot of content coming out here in the next. I mean, it's already backed up. So in the next couple of weeks, there's a lot of shit happening too.
Today was the new Assassin's Creed and the new Wolfenstein. Which I will say really quick, I applaud Bethesda on their whole marketing campaign for Wolfenstein.
Oh, the Nazi thing?
Yeah, like the No More Nazis, like hashtag No More Nazis. Like I saw that during the World Series today. I'm like, that is amazing.
And I like how Twitter was giving them shit or something for like.
Yeah, look, you're like, well, your game's not going to sell well in North Carolina, but it's okay.
We're pro-Nazi now? This is a fucking thing? Like, what universe do I live in? This is fucking crazy.
Yeah. I thought they were all gone, but I guess I was wrong. I
guess, man. All right, everybody. I'm good for now. We got a ton of shit we'll get to. We'll do this again in 2 weeks, so we'll have a lot more. We'll get a lot of these topics out, plus other stuff. But Wesley, is there anywhere someone can bug you? They want to hit you up on the internet and check out what you do?
Yeah, just, Twitter. I'm sure you have the links below. Or if any of you guys are going to be at BlizzCon next weekend, you can come find me at the NZXT booth in the World of Warcraft hall.
We are going to have to do a BlizzCon wrap-up because I cannot wait for the Warcraft 3v3. That's the only thing I watch it for these days, man. That and the developer stuff, but I do like watching the Warcraft arena games. Andy, where can people bug you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Elvatron, ELVATRON.
And you'll be in line to get your Switch, right?
Like, yeah, I'm hoping.
Yeah, well, you never know. Christmas is coming up.
Check still. I mean, I was at a GameStop today and Best Buy, and they both had the bundle still.
Okay, I mean, there's a lot going on life-wise.
Yeah, and he's got kids now, so you know. Yeah. And man, they're great kids, but you know, it just cuts into the game and.
Yeah, where do you think I went when I said I'll be back in like 2 seconds? I had to go close the door because the cats pushed it open. I didn't want to wake up the baby.
Wesley's got cats and a baby, so but he's still bought 2 amiibos. I'm very proud of you, Wesley. You know what I mean? You're keeping it real. I am going to get caught up on the Castlevania anime I still haven't watched by the next cast as well, so we'll talk about that then. All right, everybody, I'm going to head out of here. Say goodbye, everybody. Say bye, Wesley. Man.
Later.
Bye.
Peace. Do. Watch it just... Wesley will be your one-up girl. Peace.